Do you remember Friday nights? Not just any Friday night. I mean those specific Friday nights in the 1990s. The day's work was done. School was out for the weekend. The sun would start to dip low in the sky, casting long shadows across the neighborhood. There was a special kind of energy in the air. This was the time for a family ritual. A small pilgrimage that millions made every single week. A trip to a place that felt like a palace of possibilities. A temple of entertainment. The trip to Blockbuster. The feeling began the moment you stepped out of your car. The giant torn ticket logo glowed in blue and yellow. It was a beacon. Pushing through the glass doors, you were hit by cool, conditioned air. The faint smell of plastic from the VHS cases. The sweet scent of popcorn from the counter. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, making everything inside feel brighter and more exciting. This wasn't just a store, it was an experience. The official start of the weekend. Aisles stretched out like a library of dreams, fingers trailing along spines of movie boxes, new releases, crowded, people hoping to snag the last copy, classics, comfort films you could watch again and again, comedies, dramas, scary movies you'd have to beg your parents to rent. Choosing was part of the magic, a negotiation, a debate, a shared decision that brought everyone together. Checkout as ceremony, placing tapes on the counter, boxes of raisins, boxes of snow caps. Friendly employee in a blue polo scans them. Reminder of the due date, usually Sunday evening. Be kind, rewind, they'd say with a smile. Walking out, holding your treasures for the weekend. The weight of the tapes in your hands. The weight of guaranteed fun. Stories waiting to unfold on your TV. Blockbuster at its peak. More than a company. A cultural landmark. Blockbuster was a giant. In the late 1990s, it felt completely untouchable. A permanent fixture in our lives. It had more than 9,000 stores around the world. Its brand was recognized everywhere. The company seemed to have perfected home entertainment. They understood what families wanted. They provided a clean place, a safe place, an exciting place. They built an empire on a very simple idea. People wanted to watch movies at home. For a long time, Blockbuster was the undisputed king. It was a blue and yellow titan. This story isn't about a king who ruled forever. It's about how quickly a giant can fall. It's about what happens when the world changes and a leader fails to change with it. While families browsed the aisles, something else was happening. It was quiet at first. It was small. A new idea took shape in the minds of two men in California. It didn't involve big, expensive stores or shelves stacked high with plastic cases. It involved something much simpler, the mail, and later, the internet. Blockbuster's leaders saw the new idea. They heard about a small company mailing red envelopes with DVDs. They had a chance to buy that company for a price that now seems impossibly small. They were shown a glimpse of the future, but they looked at thousands of profitable stores. They looked at millions earned from late fees, and they laughed. They saw it as a joke, not a threat. A small, insignificant player in a game they'd already won. A decision that would seal their fate. This is the story of that decision. The story of two companies, Blockbuster, Netflix. One was a powerful incumbent, confident and dominant. The other, a tiny challenger with a radical new model. Their clash reshaped the entertainment industry. It's a tale about pride, about the refusal to see what's in front of you, about the unstoppable power of innovation. No empire is too big to fail. Sometimes, the thing you laugh at is the thing that replaces you. The story of Blockbuster begins not in Hollywood, but in the world of software. The year was 1985. A man named David Cook owned a company that provided software services to the oil and gas industry in Texas. The industry was struggling, and Cook was looking for a new venture. He noticed the rise of home video rental stores. They were often small, family-owned shops. Limited selections. He saw an opportunity. Cook believed he could use his experience with managing large databases to create a better kind of video store. He envisioned a superstore, a massive inventory that could satisfy any customer's taste, His first store opened in Dallas, Texas, on October 19, 1985. It was a testament to that vision. It was huge, 8,000 VHS tapes on its shelves, representing 6,500 different titles. This was unheard of at the time. The first store felt modern and family-friendly. Unlike dim, seedy video shops, Blockbuster was bright and welcoming. Cook built a sophisticated computer system to manage inventory and track rentals, a system far beyond what any corner store could afford. The concept was an instant success. Families flocked to the new store, amazed by the volume of choices. It was the spark and blueprint for a chain that would spread across the country and the world, changing how we watched movies at home forever. David Cook's initial success attracted investors. One of them was Wayne Huizenga, already built two major companies including Waste Management. In 1987, Huizenga and his partners invested in Blockbuster and soon took control. Huizenga saw the potential for rapid expansion. Not just a good idea for one store, but a formula replicated thousands of times. Under his leadership, Blockbuster exploded. The strategy was simple but effective. Open new stores fast. Enter a new city. Build large, well-stocked stores in strategic locations. Secure the best real estate. This put immense pressure on small independent video stores. They could not compete. With Blockbuster's massive selection, professional branding, and deep pockets, the company fine-tuned its business model. They established direct relationships with movie studios. They pioneered a practice known as revenue sharing. In exchange for a cut of rental fees, studios supplied many more copies of new releases. This solved the customer's biggest frustration and gave Blockbuster a huge advantage. When a big movie came out, your local Blockbuster was the most likely to have a copy. This was a ruthlessly efficient formula for dominance. By the early 90s, a new store was opening every 17 hours. The blue and yellow signs were everywhere. The company had created a standardized, predictable, and enjoyable customer experience. No matter which Blockbuster you walked into, you would find the same vast selection of movies. This consistency was key to building a global brand and cementing its position as the undisputed leader. Blockbuster didn't just sell video rentals, it sold a feeling. It was the feeling of family fun, of weekend excitement, and of easy entertainment. A key part of this strategy was the decision to not carry adult films. This choice distinguished Blockbuster and reinforced its image as a place for the whole family. The branding was iconic. The torn movie ticket logo was instantly recognizable. The blue and yellow color scheme was bright, optimistic, and friendly. This consistent visual identity created a powerful sense of familiarity and trust. When you saw that logo, you knew exactly what you were going to get. The retail experience itself was a core part of the product. It was a physical, sensory experience. You could pick up a box, read the summary on the back. The staff picks section often introduced customers to movies they might have otherwise overlooked. This curated discovery was something an algorithm could not easily replicate. While the wide selection and family-friendly brand brought customers in the door, a less celebrated part of the business model was quietly generating enormous profits. This was the system of late fees. At its peak, Blockbuster was reportedly making hundreds of millions of dollars per year from late fees alone, accounting for more than 15% of the company's total revenue. This was, in essence, a penalty for its own customers' forgetfulness or inconvenience. No one enjoyed paying a late fee. The company's leadership, however, became addicted to this stream of easy money. It was highly profitable and predictable. The golden goose of late fees was laying golden eggs, and no one inside the company wanted to stop it. This reliance on penalty revenue was a hidden vulnerability. It meant that a significant portion of Blockbuster's profits came from making its customers unhappy. This created a fundamental conflict in the company's relationship with its customers. The company profited from their mistakes, but this simmering resentment created an opening. If a competitor could offer the same movies without the hated late fees, they would have a powerful advantage. The story of the turning point begins with a simple idea and a moment of personal frustration. In 1997, a man named Reed Hastings received a late fee from Blockbuster. He had rented the movie Apollo 13 and returned it several weeks late. The charge was $40. He was embarrassed but also annoyed. Why should a business model be based on penalizing its customers? He thought about the gym membership model. What if you could apply that to movies? At the same time, a new technology was emerging, the digital versatile disc, or DVD. DVDs were thin, light, and durable. Unlike bulky VHS tapes, they were cheap to manufacture and, crucially, easy to mail. Hastings, along with his co-founder Mark Randolph, saw the potential. They connected the dots. This was the spark. When it launched in April of 1998, it was a pay-per-rent service. You went to their website, chose a movie, and a few days later, a DVD arrived in a distinctive red envelope. The real breakthrough came in 1999, when they introduced the monthly subscription model. Critically, there were no late fees, ever. This was a revolutionary concept. For a growing number of people, the trade-off was worth it. They loved the wider selection available online, and more than anything, they loved the freedom from late fees. The little red envelope became a symbol of a smarter, friendlier way to rent movies. By the year 2000, Netflix was still a small, struggling startup. They were losing money. The dot-com bubble was bursting, and venture capital was drying up. Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph knew they needed a powerful partner. They looked at the landscape and saw one obvious candidate: Blockbuster. They prepared a detailed presentation, ready to pitch their vision for the future of home entertainment. The Netflix team walked into the Blockbuster headquarters, a building that represented the pinnacle of the industry they were trying to disrupt. They were escorted to a conference room to meet Blockbuster's CEO, John Antioco, and his senior executives. Hastings and Randolph laid out their case. They explained their subscription model, the power of their recommendation algorithm, and the logistical efficiency of their distribution centers. Then, they made their offer. They proposed that Blockbuster buy Netflix for $50 million. The mood in the room was not one of excitement or curiosity. The Blockbuster executives listened to the pitch with a sense of detached amusement. They almost laughed him out of the room. The Blockbuster executives simply could not see the value. The scale of the two businesses was so vastly different that the proposal seemed almost absurd to them. They saw hundreds of millions flowing in from late fees. They saw Netflix as a company that would eliminate that revenue. Why would they buy a business ideologically opposed to how they made money? The meeting ended quickly after that. The offer was politely but firmly rejected. The Netflix team left the Dallas headquarters, dejected and disheartened. They had offered the giant a lifeline to the future. The giant had laughed at it. That laughter was the sound of corporate arrogance. A moment that sealed Blockbuster's fate, even if no one knew it then. After the fateful meeting in Dallas, Netflix went back to work. The rejection was a blessing in disguise. It forced them to become leaner, tougher, more focused. By 2002, their little red envelopes were becoming a common sight. Still small compared to the giant Blockbuster, Netflix was proving its model was viable. The first real sign of trouble for Blockbuster came from a new retail competitor. Redbox, founded in 2002, introduced automated rental kiosks, offering new release DVDs for $1 a night. Suddenly, Blockbuster faced two fronts: Netflix on convenience and selection, Redbox on price. The pressure began to show. Under immense pressure, CEO John Antioco knew he had to act. In late 2004, Blockbuster announced no more late fees. The program was a financial disaster. The program effectively eliminated the company's single most profitable revenue stream overnight. The golden goose was dead. The financial losses strained the relationship between Antioco and the company's largest shareholder, Carl Icahn. The war against Netflix had turned into a civil war inside Blockbuster's own boardroom. Blockbuster finally made a serious attempt to compete with Netflix online. It was the hybrid model Reed Hastings had pitched them 4 years earlier. The problem was timing. By then, Netflix was already a moving target. Netflix had a 5-year head start. It was too little, too late. The thousands of stores that had once been the company's greatest strength had now become its greatest liability. The stores were like anchors chained to a sinking ship. While Netflix's business model was light and scalable, Blockbuster's was heavy and inflexible. The aisles grew quieter. The lines at the checkout counter disappeared.
This was the final betrayal of the future. As the world accelerated towards streaming, Blockbuster doubled down on brick and mortar. Netflix isn't on my radar screen.
While Blockbuster figured out how to sell more popcorn in its stores, Netflix built the platform for the next decade. The company's decline accelerated dramatically. The iconic blue and yellow signs began to be replaced by red and yellow store closing banners. Employees were tasked with the heartbreaking job of selling off everything. The movies, the shelves, the posters, everything had to go. The official end came on September 23, 2010. Weighed down by nearly $1 billion in debt, Blockbuster LLC filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. One by one, the remaining stores closed their doors for good, until only a single resilient franchise store in Bend, Oregon remained, a living museum of a lost era. The story of Blockbuster is more than just a business case study. It is a modern fable about pride, progress, and the ghosts of missed opportunities. The first and most important lesson is to listen to your customers, especially to their complaints. That constant point of friction was the crack that Netflix exploited. The second lesson is about the danger of success. Blockbuster's dominance was the very thing that blinded it. They were trapped by their own winning formula. True vision isn't about optimizing what works today. It's about having the courage to imagine what will replace it tomorrow, even if it means disrupting your own profitable business. The third lesson is to respect technology. The leaders who win are not the ones who fight against the tide of technology. They are the ones who learn to build a better boat and sail with it. The forces that brought down the blue and yellow giant are more powerful today than ever before. Every industry has its own version of a Netflix quietly waiting in the wings. The question for every leader and every business today is simple. Are you Blockbuster or are you Netflix? The legacy of Blockbuster is therefore a bittersweet one. We can feel a deep nostalgia for the Friday night ritual, a shared cultural experience that brought families and friends together. But the business world does not run on nostalgia. The final, practical takeaway is this. Look for the late fees in your own business. Find the points of friction. That is your point of greatest vulnerability. The ghost of Blockbuster serves as a permanent reminder to all of us. Don't laugh at the small ideas. Don't dismiss the challengers. Be kind and be ready to rewind your own business model before the market does it for you.